After Karo's transfer to PSG, I was able to add the Trophy de France to my trophy cabinet, and life was going good. That is, until I turned on the social media and I saw a bunch of Arsenal fans hammering me in my comments, telling me I'm a Judas, I left the team early, I betrayed the Arsenal faithful. But the thing is, there's nothing I wanted more than to stay the rest of my career at Arsenal, but the Premier League was simply too demanding on that right knee of Denis Karo. I've sustained 2 different knee injuries in my time in the Premier League, and the doctor told me it was not sustainable. So I had to make a decision. Do I stay there and risk ending my career early? Or do I go on a tour of Europe, spending 1 season at different clubs, winning the Champions League, showing that I am the man to make the difference in every team I go to? And that is the nature of my move to PSG. Will I return to Arsenal one day? Maybe. Will I return to FC20 to try and win the Eredivisie? Maybe. Only time will tell, but for now, we must focus on our match against Real Madrid in the Champions League, where we look to turn around our fortunes. And Real Madrid, of course, a team that Denis Karo is very familiar with from his time at Athletic Bilbao. Vitinha would find Karo in the 6th minute of the match, and Karo passed it to Šeško. And Šeško misplaced the pass, but Garnacho was there with the tackle, and Karo was there with the shot to put PSG up 1-0 against Madrid. And Karo embracing the fans, and a wonderful start to our remontada in the Champions League. And Karo again taking it down the middle of the field, passing it right to Robin, who has a shot and puts it into the back of the net, making it 2-0 to PSG. A truly wonderful goal scored by Robin. And look at the fans going crazy. PSG with a comfortable 2-0 lead against Madrid. Jacobo passing it to Marco Martin. Jacobo finding Vinny. And Vinny on the ball. Karo looking to attack Vinny. Bellingham getting past Karo, finding Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe to Jude, who scores an absolute banger. And Jude Bellingham bringing Madrid back into this match just before the first half comes to an end. And look at Don Carlo celebrating before that prison sentence. And Modric passing it to Bellingham. And Bellingham passing it to Trent, who passes it right back to Mbappe. Trent must have forgot which team he's on. Maybe he's plotting a move to Madrid. And here's Mbappe getting past the defense, having a shot and putting it into the back of the net. And somehow, Madrid's remontada is for real. And look at Don Carlo once again, happy as hell because his team is doing the remontada. And Vitinha passing it to Adeyemi. Karo making a run. Karo getting past the defense, having a shot, smashing it into the back of the net. And shutting that remontada all the way down, and giving a high five to the PSG mascot. And that mascot's the real reason I'm here. I'm gonna go celebrate with that bastard every chance I get. And Madrid, heartbroken as hell, with Modric finding Marco Martin. Mbappe working with Marco Martin. Modric on the ball, passing it to Marco Martin, who threads it to Mbappe, who gets past our defense and puts it into the back of the net. And Kylian Mbappe has just brought back Madrid in this match for the 2nd time. And surely the remontada was not going to happen. And Gabriel with a big kick. Garnacho heading it back to Jude Bellingham. And Bellingham now with a wonderful pass to Mbappe, who's not going to miss from there, completing a wonderful hat trick. And Kylian Mbappe has just showed Karo how it's done, as Madrid have just completed the remontada. And that leaves PSG in a very tough spot in the Champions League. As you can see, we're not even qualifying for the playoff round. And as we shift our focus into match week 9 of Ligue 1, we face off against Stade Brestois. And this was going to be another intense match in Ligue 1. And Pereira Lage would pass it, but Gabriel would intercept it. And Gabriel would get the ball with some help by Trent. And Karo easily getting past two defenders. Passing it over to Davies. Davies passing it to Šeško. Šeško to Garnacho. Karo to Robin. And Robin to the back of the net. Beautifully orchestrated football by Luis Enrique's side. And Robin running over to the corner to celebrate his goal as PSG took a 1-0 lead in the 7th minute of the match. And we were not done there as McAllister and Robin worked together to find Karo. And Karo showing some skills, showing some ball control, passing it to Trent. Trent back to Karo. Karo cutting in on his left, lobbing it over to Garnacho. Vitinha passing it to McAllister. Šeško finding Garnacho, who finds Vitinha. Karo turning with the ball, lobbing it over to Robin, who smashes it into the bins. Makes it 2-0. And this guy's got himself a brace, courtesy of 2 assists by yours truly. But we're not going to talk about that. We will be humble. Clap for PSG, don't clap for me. And Doumbia passing it to Shenhaji. Vitinha passing it to Šeško. Šeško on the ball, finding Karo somehow, some way. Karo through on goal, smashing it into the left side of the bins. 3-0 PSG. And look at Karo with that goatee. And Vitinha with some skills, passing it to Karo. Karo with a rainbow flick, a volley. Are you kidding me? That should not be allowed on a football pitch. What has this man just done? This man is bringing Neymar back, as he's just done a rainbow flick and a volley to smash it into the back of the net. And Karo settling it with his chest. Adeyemi finding Karo. Karo is feeling himself right now. Karo still on the ball. Denis Karo. Beautiful pass to Garnacho, who finishes the job and makes it 5-0. 2 goals, 3 assists for yours truly. And in the 90th minute, if you thought I was done, hell no, I got a hat trick to complete. Just kidding. Anton easily snatching the ball from Karo, finding Yanis Shenhaji, who finds Dembele, and Dembele through on goal, smashing it into the back of the net and scoring a consolation goal and celebrating like he's just won the Euro Cup that Karo just got done winning. And with that victory, we remain at the very top of Ligue 1 with a total of 25 points after 9 matches played. And match week 10 against Monaco was going to be a true test to how good we are. And Donnarumma with a big kick. Šeško heading it to Karo. Karo finding Garnacho. Garnacho taking the ball, passing it to Karo. Karo shooting it. And Vicario with a great save. Karo swinging the corner in. Vitinha settling it. Robin passing it to Šeško, who passes it to Vicario. And Vicario rolling it over to McAllister, who intercepts it. Finds Karo. Karo with a sidestep, smashing it into the back of the net and punishing the keeper for his mistakes. And this guy does a gymnastics routine after he just got done telling Arsenal fans how his knee is his main concern. What an absolute fraud this guy is. As Karo finds Šeško. And Šeško back to Karo. Karo turning with some techers, passing it to Robin. Karo finding somebody, and Garnacho with a shot. And Coleman on the ball. Coleman passing it to Kalulu, and Karo just picking his pocket and passing it over to Lee Kang-in, who passes it to Šeško. Šeško to Garnacho. Garnacho to Karo. Denis Karo one-on-one with the keeper, tries to chip. What an absolute prick. And the match would come to an end. PSG collecting a 1-0 victory, and Karo looking like an absolute clown. And as we had to shift our focus over to match week 4 in the league phase of the Champions League, PSG would face off against Borussia Mönchengladbach, where we were expecting a very, very tough trip to Germany. But unfortunately for us, we got more of a boring trip to Germany, as this match only registered 1 actual shot worth mentioning, and it was this shot right there where Šeško was unable to score. And Weigl passing it to Shaparenko. who found Marmouche, who had a shot way off target, and we owe all of our fans money because that was the most boring match in football history, as the match ended 0-0, resulting in us collecting another sorry-ass point in the Champions League, bringing our total to 2 points after 4 matches played. And you can see we're starting to look like we're in trouble in the Champions League. And heading into match week 11 of Ligue 1, PSG would face off against RC Lens. Karo with some tackers, Karo with some skills, but unfortunately missing the passing accuracy. But he's able to intercept the ball. Karo finding Šeško. Šeško through on goal, having a shot, putting it into the back of the net. And the linesman is there to spoil the party. Unbelievable. Sar passing it to Šeško, who passes to Garnacho. Šeško back to Karo. Karo to Šeško. Šeško to the back of the net in the 10th minute of the match. PSG with a 1-0 lead nice and early. And look at those loyal traveling PSG fans going absolutely insane. And Davies and Karo working together. Karo passing it to McAllister. Vitinha to Garnacho. Garnacho back to McAllister. Vitinha finding Gabriel. McAllister to Karo. This is football. Denis Karo finding Šeško, who smashes it in for a second goal. And PSG taking a 2-0 lead courtesy of their man Šeško and his partner in crime, Denis Karo. A 2-0 lead for PSG. And I got a feeling we might not be done yet. And Bonilla on the ball, passing it to Carreras. Carreras. Pass intercepted by Vitinha. Karo on the ball. Karo's pass intercepted by Golding. And Golding with a poor pass. McAllister's there to collect. Karo sending it through to Robin. Robin sending it into the back of the net. 3-0 for PSG in minute 3-3. Can you believe it? Threes all across the scoreboard. And Robin with a wonderful goal. And Lens in the mud as PSG collect a 3-0 victory to keep ourselves at the top of Ligue 1. And we still have an undefeated start to the league season. We are truly performing very, very well in the league. We face off against Lille. And Lille, always a tough opponent in France. And Fred with the cross. Vitinha's there to pass it to Karo. Karo's looking for goal. He passes it to Garnacho. Garnacho cutting back, passing it to Karo. Karo now in acres of space. Through on goal. Has Šeško wide. Has a shot and puts it into the back of the net. And a goal swing by Karo. And you may be wondering, man, you could have passed it right there. But listen, I haven't been scoring as much, so I need to get the goals going if I'm going to win that Ballon d'Or that I so desperately crave. And here's McAllister finding Karo. Karo on the ball, passing it to Robin. Robin to Šeško. Karo through on goal, having a shot, unable to score. And Šeško applying some pressure. Jacobs on the ball. Jacobs still on the ball, cutting back. Finding Morton. Garnacho with a great interception. Denis Karo on the ball now, cutting in. Able to get past the defender. Denis Karo still on the ball with some skill moves. And passes it to Šeško, who smashes it and it bounces into the back of the net as PSG take a 2-0 lead. A wonderful performance by PSG so far in this match. Šeško scoring a brilliant goal. Gaia to Sharawi. McAllister's there, passing it to Trent. Šeško to Robin. Robin unable to find Karo. Šeško with a great tackle. Karo on the ball now, sending it through to Šeško brilliantly. And Šeško's there to complete one beautiful hat trick. And look at Benny Šeško, the main partner in crime for Denis Karo on this team. Šeško and Karo forming one hell of a partnership as PSG remain at the top of Ligue 1 with an undefeated start to the season and a total of 31 points, a record of 10 wins, 1 draw, and 0 losses. And as you can see, It is now time to play in the Champions League as we face off against Feyenoord in match week 5. And Feyenoord, of course, a team Karo's very, very familiar with from his time in the Eredivisie. And Šeško passing it back to McAllister. And here's Alexander-Arnold on the ball. Cutting it back, passing it to Karo. Karo laying it up for Vitinha, who passes it to Šeško, who's unable to score. Alexander-Arnold with a great interception. Karo passing it to McAllister. Robin to Šeško. Šeško back to Karo. Karo sending it through to Robin. Robin is through on goal. Robin has a shot and puts it into the back of the net. 1-0 PSG. Costa passing it back to Šalinkas. Vitinha heading the ball to McAllister. Passing it to Karo, who turns, has a shot and off the bar. Donnarumma to Gabriel. Gabby passing it to Trent. Karo to Robin. Šeško passing it to McAllister. Vitinha to Karo. Karo through on goal. Defenders on his back. Right-footed shot. It bounces into the back of the net. PSG 2. Feyenoord 0. And Karo sliding to the fans as he celebrates a goal against his former Dutch rivals. And that just tastes better than the others. And with just seconds left in the match, Karo with a brilliant sliding tackle. And Karo lobbing it to Garnacho, and the match comes to an end. PSG collecting a 2-0 victory against Feyenoord. And that was our first victory in the Champions League, which brings our total to 5 points after 5 matches played. We've still got a lot of work to do, but you can see we're climbing the table. We face off against Nantes. And Donnarumma with a big kick. Šeško heading it to Garnacho. Garnacho sending it to Karo. Denis Karo on the ball. Karo having a shot and putting it into the back of the net in the 9th minute of the match. PSG taking an early 1-0 lead. And Nandes sending it through, but Skriniar's there with the interception. Karo cutting back, passing it to McAllister. Vitinha sending it through to Garnacho. Karo on the ball. Denis Karo lobbing it over to Šeško. Denis Šeško with one hell of a volley to make it 2-0 PSG. And Tarbal with the cross and Biot with the header, which bounces off the bar. Davies heading the ball. Denis Karo taking a touch. Karo finding Garnacho. Garnacho finding Adeyemi. Karo leaving the ball. McAllister to Adeyemi. 3-0 PSG. A wonderful goal by Adeyemi would see PSG collect a tremendous victory, which would bring our point tally up to 34 points after 12 matches played. A wonderful start to the Ligue 1 season. A record of 11 wins, 1 draw, and 0 losses. And as we head into our next true test in Ligue 1, match week 13 would see us hosting Olympique Lyon. And João Neves taking a shot but is unable to get past our defense. Skriniar with a great block. João Neves passing it to Lima. Pedro Lima passing it back to João Neves. João Neves on the ball. João Neves taking it down the flank. João Neves somehow still on the ball, untouched. Passing it to Fournier. And João Neves to Mano Kone, who puts it into the back of the net. And as you can see, Karo's picked up a little knock on his shoulder. And Tessman passing it to Vinicius. And Mano Kone to João Neves. This guy's been tearing us up all night. Fournier on the ball with a long shot, barred down. What can you do about that? And in the 78th minute, Vitinha finding Karo. Karo sending it through to Šeško. And Šeško taking a touch. Heading towards goal, having a shot, unable to score. And we end up suffering our first defeat in the league for the season after a 2-0 loss to Olympique Lyon. Although we remain at the top of the table in Ligue 1, it is disappointing to lose like that. And taking a look at the Champions League, we remain in 23rd place with a total of 5 points as we are climbing up the table. And just taking a look at what to expect in the next episode, you can see that Karo has a reunion against his former team, Arsenal. How will that reunion go? Only time will tell. And that is where we will end today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Please be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And most importantly, have a great rest of your day.